What we decided was that the kind of compensation that the Parliamentary Ombudsman was proposing, which would have amounted to £10 billion, was not proportionate to their findings in that particular instance. Of course, the real challenge that many of the WASPI women and where the WASPI campaign really came from was George Osborne's decision in 2011 to massively accelerate bringing forward the pension age. And the Ombudsman wasn't looking at that. Look, I'm just saying that the Ombudsman wasn't looking at that particular issue. That's already been looked at.
You are in government now. You are in government now. You put your name when you're in opposition to a Commons motion supporting this campaign. Many of your colleagues were out on the demos supporting them. You knew what the numbers were. Why didn't you tell the women at that point that you weren't going to be able to find the £10 billion?
Well, of course, this report was actually published in March this year, just before the general election. We didn't have a commitment in our manifesto.
But you knew what the scale of it
at all, or in this report. Well, look, as I say, I was an MP, actually I wasn't an MP, but I was working in Parliament in 2011 when George Osborne made this big decision to really accelerate bringing forward the pension age for women, which is what really gave rise to this whole campaign. And the Labour Party in Parliament at that time, we put down amendments. We opposed that at the time. That issue was looked at separately.
You weren't against George Osborne's equalising the pension age at all.
We thought that we absolutely raised concerns at that time about bringing that forward so quickly, and obviously that was the thing that caused the campaign, if you like, and the sense of injustice. What we were having to look at
what the problem here
as a government. No, hang on a minute.
Okay, carry on.
Government today, what we were having to look at was this particular report that was looking at whether there was sufficient communication back in 2004, and we accepted that. That's why we apologised.
Labour has been facing growing accusations of hypocrisy ever since they came to power, and public frustration is reaching a boiling point. Many people are now demanding another general election before 2029, fueled by disillusionment with the party's broken promises and questionable decisions. One issue, in particular, has struck a nerve: Labour's refusal to compensate the WASPI Women Against State Pension Inequality women, despite years of campaigning and pledges of support. This controversy erupted recently when Labour MP Lucy Powell faced a tough grilling from Sky's Trevor Phillips. Powell's responses exposed Labour's unwillingness to take accountability, instead pointing fingers at past governments. But her attempts to sidestep the issue only revealed the party's true colours, leaving many voters feeling betrayed and angry. During the interview, Phillips pressed Powell on why Labour backed the WASPI campaign so publicly during opposition, attending rallies, making speeches, and posing for photo ops, only to abandon the cause once in power. Powell struggled to respond, instead offering a defense that left many shaking their heads. She claimed that the £10 billion in compensation recommended by the Parliamentary Ombudsman was not proportionate to their findings. But Phillips didn't let her off the hook. He reminded Powell that Labour had plenty of time to assess the financial implications of the WASPI case before the election. Yet, instead of being honest with voters, the party gave the impression that they were fully committed to helping these women. Phillips asked why Labour didn't make their position clear earlier, and Powell's response was a masterclass in deflection. She shifted the blame to George Osborne, citing his 2011 decision to accelerate the rise in the state pension age as the real source of the problem. While it's true that Osborne's decision caused significant hardship for many women, Powell's argument felt hollow. After all, Labour campaigned on promises of justice for WASPI women. If they were so concerned about the issue, why didn't they include a plan for compensation in their manifesto? Instead, they offered vague apologies and excuses about affordability, leaving these women, who have suffered immensely, out in the cold. This isn't an isolated incident. It's part of a troubling pattern. Labour's handling of the WASPI issue exemplifies their broader tendency to promise one thing during opposition and do the opposite once in power. Time and again, the party has shown that it's more interested in optics than delivering meaningful change. The betrayal felt by WASPI women is deeply personal. Many of these women have faced financial ruin, unable to retire as planned due to the abrupt changes in the pension age. They trusted Labour to fight for them, only to see the party abandon its commitments when it mattered most. It's a heartbreaking reminder of how out of touch the political establishment has become. The backlash has been swift. Social media has erupted with anger, with many calling Labour hypocrites. One user on X, formerly Twitter, wrote, "Labour stood with waspy women when they needed votes, but now they've turned their backs. Absolute disgrace." Another added, "How can you campaign for years on an issue, get into power, and then pretend it's someone else's problem?" This growing discontent has sparked broader calls for change. Many voters now believe the country cannot wait until 2029 for another general election. Labour's refusal to take accountability for its actions has only deepened the public's distrust in politicians, and people are demanding a system that ensures leaders follow through on their promises. The waspy issue is just the tip of the iceberg. Labour's struggles to deliver on its commitments are emblematic of a larger problem, a party that has lost touch with the very people it claims to represent. The question now is whether Labour can regain the public's trust, or whether their time in power will be remembered as a series of missed opportunities and broken promises. What do you think? Are Labour MPs being hypocritical? Do you believe the waspy women deserve compensation? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you agree, don't forget to like this video and share it with others. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time with more updates.